Has been put in place for Friday. That's the Storm Prediction Center outlook. We'll let you know what we think about the severe weather risk and the 7-day forecast coming up.
WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
Well, you know it's a matter of time, Tania, and then it's going to change, right?
You're talking about what? The rain and storms or the temperatures?
Well, but yeah, both, right? Yeah, tomorrow we're talking about afternoon highs topping 80 degrees.
I know.
Yeah.
And the exact opposite next week.
I know it's spring fever. If it hasn't kicked in for you yet, it will certainly do so tomorrow. And also starting to see a lot of, I know we've had a lot of pictures of trees starting to really bloom out. Now
More
seeing
pollen.
flowers.
Yes,
yeah.
more flowers blooming. The pollen is definitely evident now.
Yes.
But I saw, just on my dinner break, Wes, I saw lots of people enjoying the spring-like conditions. They were outdoors walking their dogs, soaking up the sunshine. I was a little jealous.
Well, tomorrow you're going to have another opportunity to
Yes.
soak up some sunshine, but there will be some rain coming back. And we're seeing those springtime storms, a severe weather risk. It's going to ramp up back to the west. Folks across parts of Arkansas especially will need to be weather alert looking at tomorrow, and as there could be a risk for severe storms, damaging winds, hail, tornadoes, and that threat is going to be happening. But as this system moves closer to our area, it's going to roll in here early on Friday. We start to see those severe weather ingredients back off, thankfully, a little bit. But having said that, we'll still need to monitor radar. Could see a storm with some gusty winds, maybe a hail producer. Impact time for us would be early Friday, and right there during the morning hours. But what you're looking at, I've plotted the instability. I like to call it the storm fuel, that very moist, unstable air. And you can see tomorrow how that really ramps up back to the west of us. But notice as this moves closer to us, again, I mentioned it in the Friday, you see how that lessens. So that's a good sign. It's a very marginal risk for severe weather. That threat's very limited, but it's not totally zero, so just need to watch it, especially in March, this time of year, March, April. Have to keep a close eye even on those general thunderstorms as this moves to the south. But notice Friday, we see that more unstable air by the afternoon on south of Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, and Anniston. So we will see some improvements there during the day. Kind of like last Friday, what will happen, we'll get the rain, and it'll help to stabilize things a little bit there during the day. But as you can see, the temperatures right now, it's feeling nice out there. I mean, this is some incredible temperature conditions that we're dealing with right now. 72 in Jasper, 71 at Gadsden, but very pleasant evening conditions out there. Now 75 for us here at Aliceville. But as we look ahead tomorrow, mentioning places like Aliceville, Carrollton, parts of West Alabama, there is a chance that we could see some isolated pop-ups later tomorrow. So one of the next big thing, the chance for some of those isolated showers and storms coming back, as you can see there during the afternoon. But our Thursday forecast, most of the day will be dry. Again, we'll see those highs right around 80 degrees during the afternoon, actually close to 82 for places like Tuscaloosa, around 80 at Birmingham. But around 5, 6 o'clock, that's when we could start to see a few pop-ups in West Alabama. So make sure you check the WBRC First Alert Weather app. But giving you an extra look at weather systems making their way across the country right now, we take you to Denver, where they're facing their worst snowstorm in 3 years. This comes after Denver saw 2 feet of snow in the last storm to impact them in 2021. And even though it's not expected for them to see as much as the last storm, this system coming in is still set to drop several feet of snow by Friday, part of that same system that we're tracking across the country. Nederland in Colorado is likely going to get the highest amounts with up to 4 feet of snow. What is it about these March systems? You know, yesterday we were talking about the superstorm of 93 that actually happened at this time back several years ago. But winter alerts and winter storm warnings are already in place across 6 states, with the snow starting as early as this morning. And that's some of that colder air that we're going to be talking about into next week. And I've been showing you the severe weather outlooks. These are the outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center, and this is that same dynamic system that's setting up back to the west. Kansas City already receiving some golf ball size hailstones in the warmer part of this storm system in some spots, and as this continues to move on to the east, it's going to bring those hazards I talked about: tornadoes, damaging straight line winds from Oklahoma to Arkansas. That part of the storm will have a big impact with that enhanced severe weather risk for the day tomorrow.
And in California, West, a landslide in Los Angeles prompted evacuations and damaged at least 3 homes. Firefighters responding to the area earlier this morning, and they found a large portion of the hillside had slid towards homes in the Sherman Oaks neighborhood. The most damage was to a home under construction, and there were people in 2 of the homes when the landslide hit, but they also got out safely and there were no reported injuries. And in Texas, as a dangerously dry and windy pattern sets up, this brings the chance for more potentially dangerous wildfires. Take a look at this. This comes as the Smokehouse Creek fire has burned over 1 million acres since starting just 2 weeks ago. The Storm Prediction Center issuing an extreme risk for parts of Texas and Oklahoma, a level rarely issued. This is also due to an intensifying drought and the dead vegetation. Models show, though, that higher humidity values throughout the week could produce or reduce how fast wildfires grow when they do happen. Fire weather warnings are already in place across most of the state. The Smokehouse Creek fire is currently 89% contained, but in 30 seconds, we bring it back here at home and take a look at our current conditions as well as an extra look at our environment. We'll be right back.
Well, sunset time, 6:54. We are enjoying those later sunsets. Certainly a beautiful view out there from Montevallo. Plenty of sunshine right now at 73 degrees, but we're going to have some nice sunset photos coming in. So again, if you have our First Alert weather app, you can share those with us, but we'll love to see some of those pictures. We like to share those right here on Weather Extra. High temperatures for tomorrow. Look at Birmingham, 82 degrees, 80 Pell City, 82 Tuscaloosa, 80 in Alice. Look out, springtime. But let me tell you, next week we're going to have another freeze threat. It's coming around Tuesday morning, so be sure you take those measures, protect the plants again, because we're going to be talking about some cold weather coming back. But rain and storms, a good chance by Friday morning. We'll show you more on those outlooks coming up in the 7-day forecast.
And as we check on our environment, leaders at the Alabama Department of Environmental Management say they are monitoring cleanup efforts after that crash and fuel spill on I-59 earlier this month. ADEM officials say a contractor is evacuating soil at the spill site this week and using a boom to manage the flow of oil spread from the spill. The spill raised environmental concerns with Black Warrior River keepers urging caution. Riverkeeper Nelson Brook says a number of fish were killed as a result of the spill. Oh, so sad. Brook says the state is doing a dead fish count in and around the spill site.
People should be avoiding the creek and the Roebuck area and downstream until we get further information from first responders in the state of Alabama.
ADEM officials saying today they are still working to get more data on the spill. This leads to how what we eat can also have big impacts on the environment, which also means the same can be said about what food sources we eat. Fox News correspondent Jackie Ibanez takes a look at why feed livestock bugs could be the solution to a number of issues.
The food most people eat has to eat something. The millions of chickens, pigs, and cows many rely on being fed a diet high in corn, soybeans, and other grains. But it takes a lot of land, water, energy, pesticides, and more to grow and transport all these crops, with some climate activists saying these factors contribute to the already high carbon footprint associated with animal agriculture.
It's incredibly unsustainable.
To help make the modern-day food system more sustainable, British-based company Entocycle is investing in the mass production of insects known as black soldier flies.
It is the quickest, cheapest, most sustainable insect to farm, and it's a non-disease, non-pest species that's found all over the world.
Because the bugs are so small, the company says they don't require a lot of space and resources to be raised. The company is transforming these little guys into protein-rich food for livestock and using its software to help other organizations farm billions of black soldier flies on an industrial level.
And so our suite of technology removes that kind of the issues around managing so many animals at one time. It removes that kind of human labor that's very costly in certain areas of the facility.
And because the flies can be fed rotting food, experts say they can also help combat the food waste crisis impacting the globe, which is also driving up greenhouse gas emissions like methane. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Well, still ahead on First Alert Weather Extra, we continue to talk about the storm and rain chance Friday, and we take a look at that cool down next week that I'm not ready for. But don't go anywhere. We'll talk more about that Weather Extra after the break.
Well, we always love sharing the photos that you share with us on the WPRC First Alert Weather app. Great way to share those lovely weather photos. We've certainly had some beautiful sunset views out there this week. Also, some great opportunities to spot what's happening in the night sky. Let's check in now with Matt and Mickey.
Oh boy, we've got some good views sent in to our First Alert Weather app, Matt.
We do, and we love to share those photos with you. In fact, this was from last night. It had a sunset at Lake Gunnersville. Caroline sent this in. Isn't that a beautiful view?
It really is. Gunnersville is just a gorgeous lake up there in North Alabama. So got some great vistas, and thank you, Carolyn, for snapping that. We've got Fairview. Rebecca McAnally sent this in. We got another lake view there, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know, the lake is just perfect, right?
It is. I love it.
Yep, because you get the little reflection, you see the beautiful colors, and thanks for sending that in. And then we also have a sunrise photo. This is from York Mountain. Janice sent this in to us.
Is this regular York or New York? It's just regular York Mountain.
I think it's just regular York.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
I like a York.
There you go.
Thank you, Janice, for sending that in.
And, you know, we've got some stuff you can see in the night sky.
Yes, you know, this evening, just after Weather Extra airs, if you look into the west sky here on March 13th, that's today, you can see Jupiter.
Yeah.
Right there in the west sky as the sun sets.
Yeah, look for the moon, and you'll be able to see, if you see a little dot next to the moon in the evening hours, that is the planet Jupiter.
It's a big one.
Yeah, and guess what?
What?
In the middle of this month, starting now in the morning, right before sunrise, say about 6 o'clock in the morning.
I'll say it.
Look towards the southeast, towards the horizon, and you might see a little dot there. That is actually the planet Mars.
Wow, I've always been a fan of their candy bars. But that is looking good, looking good. And if you want to share with the whole class some of those pictures or sunrise, sunsets, how do you do it, Matt?
Well, you download the WBRC First Alert Weather app.
I knew you were going to say
Scroll
that.
down, and
Yeah.
it says send us your photos and videos. Love to see them. Just include your name. Want to give you that credit, and let us know where you're taking it from.
Even if it's York. Yeah.
Yes.
So send those in, and we'll be waiting for them, and we'll put them right here on TV.
Right
You
here.
know, if they're good.
They're all good.
All right.
All right, some nice conditions out there this evening. 74 right now, a live look from Hoover. First alert sky vision. Wind out of the southwest at 7 miles per hour. Few clouds are showing up. A live look from Straighten Mountain. 76 degrees here at Appalachian School. 74 at Oxford. That's the view from Coldwater Mountain there. You can see the Calhoun County 911 camera showing. It looks a little bit kind of hazy there. 75 Vernon, and the current temperature and the winds out of the south at 10 miles per hour. So here in West Alabama, this is one location we could see an isolated shower or two late tomorrow. So some changes are coming here over the next 24 hours. There's Jacksonville, a live look, but these temperatures, it's feeling good in the neighborhood right now. And tonight, the lows down into the 50s for the overnight, so well above that freezing mark and not as chilly as we start the day. Even 10 o'clock tonight, still seeing a lot of 60s there on the map. But the rain holds off for right now. The light breeze remains in place overnight out of the south, but notice tomorrow most of the day's dry until we get into the evening. About this time tomorrow, you check in with us. We might have a couple of isolated showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm that we could see pop up back to the west as we start to see that moisture moving in. But the main round of rain and storms doesn't roll in until Friday morning as a cold front drops into the state. And you can see Friday morning as this moves in, we might have a nice little gust front, but once this gets in here, that rain kind of helps us stabilize things a bit. But that's going to we're looking at, as this first rolls in, possibility of maybe a strong storm, some gusty winds there early Friday, perhaps a hail producer, but it's a very marginal severe weather risk. Mostly a lot of rain. Now listen, this is going to have some impacts Friday morning. I'd plan for some extra drive time. There's going to be some visibility issues, some wet roads. A lot of rain's going to be impacting the area during a busy time of day. And then as we get into the afternoon, we still could have some wet weather. Some data, though, shows this maybe pushing south a bit sooner. So we might catch a few breaks there later Friday, if not Friday afternoon, certainly Friday night. But you can see this model is showing a good coverage there of showers and kind of rainy at times through midday and at least into the early afternoon. But again, the severe risk is on the low end. Most concerned about if we did see a severe storm, some strong damaging wind gusts, and maybe a hail producer. And the flooding risk is also somewhat limited. It's more localized because once this system moves in here early Friday, it looks like the weekend's trending a little bit drier now, so we're not seeing as much rain as it seemed like we were going to see with this system. But notice tomorrow, first off, enjoy it. We're going to have those highs. I mentioned topping 80 degrees in some areas. I showed you some of those forecast highs, and the data was showing 82 for Birmingham tomorrow. But hey, the good news for the weekend, the rain chances have backed off a little bit. So St. Patrick's Day, it doesn't look like a total washout now. It looks like maybe some showers south. But again, next week, as Tania was talking about, by Tuesday morning, we had the first alert for some freezing temperatures on the way. I want to share a few photos, though, before we go to the First Alert weather calendar with meteorologist Tania Michelle. And today I had a pleasure of visiting Alabama Power Headquarters and a presentation on weather safety. It's that time of the year. And, of course, we talked about a lot of the tools that we utilize here in the First Alert Weather Center. As you can see, I was showing some of the storm tracking severe weather products that you see right here on WBRC Fox 6. But one thing I mentioned today, Tania, it's never a matter of will it happen, it's always when. Will it happen? So we always need to be weather ready.
Absolutely. Well, it looked like you had a great time earlier today,
fun
Wes.
time. Great
Good
group.
crowd, too. Yes, sir. I'm really happy and proud of you. But look at our First Alert weather calendar. We have some rain around tomorrow night, but not a complete washout by any means. Majority of your Thursday is shaping up to be dry. But Friday, a First Alert for rain and storms back in the forecast. Could see some strong storms with some hail, some gusty winds. By the weekend, it's not a complete washout, as Wes was mentioning earlier. We do have some wet weather around early Saturday morning and maybe returning late Saturday night, but more likely on Sunday. And it looks like Sunday there still will be plenty of breaks, and some areas may not see any wet weather. It looks like a lot of that wet weather is staying to our south. Looking dry but cooler for the start of next week, so we do have a little red box around Tuesday. Freezing temperatures Tuesday morning. It's going to be cold, guys, so please bring out the coat, cover those sensitive plants. It is the first day of spring, but it's really not going to feel like it. The afternoon, we're really only going to see temperatures into the 50s, maybe 60s, but we're looking dry for majority of next week, but another chance for rain and storms by Thursday and Friday. So the end of your work week next week, that's March 3rd, March 21st and 22nd. Looking dry next weekend. I'm happy about that one. The 23rd and the 24th, and for the 25th and the 26th is when we see our next chance of rain for the end of the month of March. And that mainly looks like a rain chance Tuesday night with more wet weather and possible storms around by Wednesday, the 27th. So that's a look at our First Alert weather calendar. Now let's take a look at that 8 to 14 day rainfall outlook. We saw some rainy days and maybe some stormy days in the days ahead. As far as the United States, it looks like majority of us are going to see more wet weather between March 21st to the 27th, near average in Texas. But for us here at home, we're still looking at above average rainfall for central and even Alabama in general. Now look at those temperatures. We've got our 8 to 14 day temperature outlook for March 21st to the 27th. Looks like some cold temperatures up northern portions of the United States. Areas further to the west like Nevada and New Mexico seeing above average temperatures, and Texas, but for us here at home, near average. So we're going to see temperatures right where they need to be, more seasonable conditions. So I'm not mad at it. Hopefully we can still see more warm conditions as we head into spring and we can get past that little cold snap that we'll see next Tuesday. But check this out. An earth science class in New York is learning all about total solar eclipses. Natalie Calzatoni spoke with one of the teachers about how they're teaching their students.
Because the right side of the moon has now slightly darkened.
Science teacher Dan Robbins says the anticipation of the eclipse has piqued his students' interest.
If everything is lined up perfectly like it's going to be in April, what do we have? Solar eclipse. It's been a topic of conversation. It is definitely a current event. The kids are very excited about it. So we're going to harness that curiosity and make it a teachable moment.
During Tuesday's lesson, Robbins used moon models to show the class how exactly a total solar eclipse occurs and why they are so rare. And students got to simulate the phases of the moon in a hands-on activity.
The Lunar Lollipop activity teaches students about the different phases of the moon. A total solar eclipse can only happen when the moon is between the Earth and the Sun. This is known as the new moon phase.
10th grader Kellen Welch says this unit has made him even more excited for next month's big event.
I think it's a good example of just showing the moon's like path, like how you see it every day. Yeah, I got my glasses and everything. I should be going to, my grandparents have a big field, so I'll have a good view of it. And I just think it's cool that a bunch of people are coming from all over just to watch.
Robbins says most of the concepts he teaches require models because the subject is always too big or too small to have in class. On April 8th, his science lesson turns into reality.
They're going to see a natural phenomenon firsthand in Canandaigua, New York. And it's very exciting for them.
What a cool science teacher. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more First Alert Weather Extra after the break.
Well, check it out. The SpaceX Dragon capsule making its return yesterday was captured over Bay Minette. And Misty Brown shared this video on the First Alert Weather app. Check that out, Tania.
Wow, what a great sight. She caught it.
If you didn't know what was going on, you'd
be a little scared.
Yeah, exactly. But a great catch there, though.
Good catch.
Some nice
Thanks for sending that in, too. You can always send in your videos and photos to the First Alert Weather app, and we'll, of course, have more details first at 9.